Are you hungry? She's like, it's time to eat. It's time to eat. Come on, Doug, quick. Okay, so here's the back of the yacht club. And so this was built in 1959 is when the yacht club was originally built. It's like an Albert Frey architectural design. And this is where the boats, you see where the boats would have come in. But obviously now the sea has gotten too low. But they would have all docked up here. And this was when all the celebrities were out here because it was a great place for boating and vacation and stuff. But it's such a cool looking building because it looks like a ship. Such a fun building. It's still here, and it was closed officially in 1989, but I think that they still use it for the community. Like, it's a community center now. Good morning! It is day 8, and we are on the road.
On the road again. I always start that.
I can't wait to get on. We're stopping for a little bit of breakfast because we had a snack on the way out, but we didn't have anything to eat. We are headed to, first we're stopping in San Bernardino because there's a bookstore out there in Riverside, and then we're going to head to Lancaster because there's a bookstore there. So we're just riding and listening to No Exit. We're getting close to the end. It's gotten really tense. And I should say trigger warning for body horror, because there's a lot of body horror in this.
Yeah, I'm not knowing if I like body horror.
Yeah, Mom's a little grossed out. Not as much of a mystery as this is like a thriller horror. So I guess I was expecting more mystery, and maybe that's part of the reason why I'm not enjoying it quite as much. But I do think it's actually Taylor Adams' writing style. It's just not quite... You know, everybody has preferences, and this one's just not quite my favorite. There's also some things that I'm not crazy about with this. I don't know that I like hearing from the villain's perspective as much. You hear from the villain's perspective really early on in this, and so I'm not sure I actually like that in a book.
That's
but
interesting.
I'd have to read other books to know. And then also I'm just not sure if I'm not into the audiobook of this. Would I really enjoy it a lot more and get more into it and have the heart palpitations and stuff if I had been reading it physically? It's possible. So it could be just that for some reason this audiobook's not working for me as well. But I mean, I'm enjoying listening to it with Mom. It has gotten very interesting.
It's got the nice tense. I'm all just, you know, and so I'm enjoying it.
Less than 2 hours left of that one.
Yeah.
We're going to keep on moving on. We're going to keep on trucking. We're going to keep on driving. We're going to keep on something.
We have to if we want to get back to Washington.
Other than that, it's a beautiful day. It's just a gorgeous day, and we're kind of enjoying ourselves, just putting along.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not rushed.
Okay, so we were in Riverside and we just passed, you saw the Mission Inn and Spa, which is beautiful, such a gorgeous building. And then we went to Downtown Bookstore, which you weren't as crazy about.
It didn't have a whole lot of choices. It wasn't as big as some of the ones, and we've gone to places where they've got so many books there on the floor even. But what was really cute about this place was owls. They had owls everywhere, and they were explaining it to one of the customers that there's a lot of owls here in Riverside. So the owners love owls.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really cute bookstore. It's just that the selection was pretty minimal. A lot of the books that I was looking at, I didn't recognize the authors, or they were much older books. And so trying to find books, I was kind of having a hard time because I'd have to like look up all the books to see if it was something I was really interested in. And yeah, it just wasn't, the selection wasn't huge. And when I did find series that I was interested in, they didn't have the first in the series oftentimes. I found one particular author and book that I was really interested in getting. It's on my to-be-read list, but they didn't have the first book. They only had the second book, so I was a little bummed by that. It was cute, though.
It's really cute.
And it was fun to stop there, yeah. But it wasn't the best selection for us. But you picked up some books.
Yeah, so I'm looking for all of the Patricia Cornwall, the Scarpetta series. There's like 28.
Tons of books in that
Tons
series.
of them. So I picked up another 5 here. So I'm picking up 5 at the other place, 5 here. Eventually I'll have all of them. And I'm not as picky as Amy. She likes to have all the same covers.
Yes.
You know, matching covers.
I do like to have matching covers.
Because she found one of the books we need for
Yeah, Cassandra Clare, City of Lost Souls is one of the books we need, but it was one of the other covers. And I was like, no, this doesn't match our series.
And I've got a hardcover of Patricia. I've got some paperbacks. But I'm going to end up with all of them, and they may not all match, but they'll read the same.
They do read the same. Okay, bye. By Taylor Adams. What'd you think?
I'm going to give it 3.75 because it had me on the edge of my seat probably the entire time.
That's surprising because I figured you'd give it a higher rating because I'm actually going to give it a 3.5.
It wasn't my favorite, and there was kind of squeamish stuff there. I'm a squeamish girl.
She is a squeamish girl.
So 3.75 isn't bad at all, but it's not, you know, I ones that I've given 4 to 5, they make me feel really good. This one leaves you squeamish.
Definitely a lot of body horror. I am going to give it 3.5 because it pulled itself together in that last third of the book. Like, really pulled itself together and it got really good. I expected what happened. Like, I did guess what was going to happen. But it still was much more enjoyable. To me, it almost felt like you could cut out that first 2/3 of the book, and then you'd have a really fun, exciting book that would be that last section, because it was really good. The action was really well paced. It got to be very interesting. The characters got a lot more interesting in there towards the end, and the main character redeems herself for me quite a bit.
Finally.
She just was so annoying. She was so annoying. I just couldn't stand her personality for the majority of the book.
So I have a question, because you talked about you did not like to hear the side of the
villains, the perspective of the villains.
So what do you think about the end?
I actually liked it towards the end. I think if I had had the perspective of the villains towards the end, then it would be okay. But from from pretty early on, you get the villain's perspective, and I just didn't really enjoy that as much. So I think that, you know, when we're getting down to it, when we're in the thick of the moment, then I don't mind it as much. But I think that it came on too early. Like, I wanted more of that suspense buildup, more of the drama buildup, and you don't get that as much when you're hearing from the villain, I think. The secrecy of it, the suspense of it, the buildup of not knowing, not understanding why that person, you know, is a villain, that's what's exciting to me. So if I get to hear the villain from the very beginning, it's not as interesting to me, because I like the buildup.
I was wondering if you liked at the end, it was interesting hearing the villain's thoughts.
Yes. So I do like that. when you're in the action of the, final whatever it is. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it did redeem itself, like it totally did. It just really didn't work for me for the majority of it. And it was partially the writing style, partially the way the author wrote the characters. Not that they're supposed to be likable in a thriller, but if there's a hero of the story, I need to at least feel something towards the hero. I was too busy feeling uncomfortable about the hero and feeling like I didn't trust her at all. And so I that makes me not enjoy it as much.
I honestly don't do well with movies or books where you're when you're done with it, you feel sick to your stomach. And I remember watching a movie that made me, at the very end, you don't feel good at the end. This one, it feels okay, but I just
the body horror.
The body horror was
there was
hard
a lot
on me.
There was a lot. Yeah, it is definitely a horror. This is not just a thriller.
But it's thrilling. I can't say it's not. I was on pins and needles the whole time.
Yeah, I wasn't the whole time, but the last third of the book really picked up, and then it's true. Yeah, it was good. It turned out being really good. So 3.5 for me.
Yeah, I was worried about Amy not enjoying it.
Yeah, and I think that I might enjoy it better if I wasn't listening to it on audiobook. Honestly, I do think that. Because there was something about the narrator narrating this role that just didn't, I don't know, for some reason it didn't work for me. And I think some audiobooks don't quite work out as well for some people as others do. And this one for me was not quite as successful as other audiobooks.
Yeah, I wondered too about if it would have a different suspense reading it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So we are going to continue on. We're on Route 66 right now, as you saw, and we're just continuing on. We're hitting a bit of traffic. We're on our way to Lancaster because we have one more book stop there, and we're going to start listening to Travels with Charlie. Actually, I was thinking we might listen to the YA next because it's much lighter, so maybe we should pick up a light read, like a contemporary romance.
Something that makes my stomach start feeling better.
Yeah. So we'll probably listen to that. I don't remember what it's called at the moment, but we'll give you an update when we get to the next stop on that book. So we'll talk to you later. Okay, so we were in Lancaster, and I just went to Little Book Bug on the Boulevard, and it was a cute little bookstore. It was a little odd because a lot of books weren't quite available yet, or they were organizing them and they hadn't put them in the system yet. So there was a lot of options that were not available, but I did end up picking the book that I needed to pick for my book crawl, and they had ARCs there, and you could get an ARC for free if you spent $10 on a book. So I ended up getting this ARC, American Pop by Snowden Wright, and this is a book that I've been really curious about. Emma from Drinking by My Shelf loved this, and it just sounded really interesting to me the whole time I was listening to her talk about it, so I'm excited that I got this one for free. And then because the book that I actually picked up was only $9, I had to spend another $1 to be able to get that free ARC, so I went to the 50-cent section and I got The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean Owl, and I actually had heard someone mention that this was a good series before, and I got fairly good reviews, so I'm interested in checking this out and seeing what it's all about. And then I got a cozy mystery called Cherry Cheesecake Murder by Joan Fluke, and this is not the first in the series, but I don't know if that matters. I'll check it out and see if it actually matters before reading it, but it looked kind of fun. All the other books in the 50-cent shelf were part of series, and they weren't the first in the series, so I was like, well, what would I probably enjoy the most of these series? And that would probably be a cozy mystery, so I figured this would be fun. Yeah. Shell's house.
Hooray!
Yeah, finally here. And it's about 10 now.
Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, we got around here 8:30, but then we were helping Shell come up with her own TBR, so for April. So that was really exciting because I always love helping her come up with her game TBR, and she ended up getting 13 books from the game. So I wanted to give you an update really quickly on the audiobook though, because we had finished No Exit and it was a bit much. So we needed something a little more lighthearted. And so we ended up picking up I Want to Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest. So this is a YA contemporary, it's a romance, contemporary romance. And it's really cute so far. It's about this girl named Chloe, and she's going to be a ballerina. She'd like to be a professional ballerina. And I love books about ballerinas, or ballet in general. She's kind of secretly going off to this audition, and it's going to be in
Washington, D.C.
DC.
Yeah.
And so she has to road trip 2 hours to get there. But it turns out she's going to take her arch nemesis on the trip because she ends up giving him a favor. And it's a guy who had been her friend ever since she was a little child. Well, they were friends when they were younger. And now that they're getting older, they're not close anymore. But, you know, there may have been feelings at some time. I don't know. And so, of course, as you can imagine, road trips, things are going to go wrong. And so things start going wrong and the story starts changing from there. So I'm really liking it so far. I'm liking it more than I thought I was going to. What are you thinking?
It's cute. I'm enjoying it too. I like romances. I mean, we're not at a romance stage yet, so we're waiting to see.
Yeah.
But it's a fun road trip.
Yeah.
I guess fun is not always the right word when you realize things can go wrong.
Yeah.
And of course, things go wrong.
Fun for us.
But we've had some good laughs.
Yeah, exactly. Fun for us to read about,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
fun for them.
The girl is 17. The guy that's on the road trip with her is 18.
It's a YA, but it kind of feels like a young YA, especially at first.
Yeah,
you
she
think
seems
so?
younger than her 17 years. Well, her mother's very, very protective and
Yes.
treats her like she's a child, not like she's almost an adult. It's annoying to the girl, but she loves her mom.
Yeah, and she understands where her mom's coming from. So it was one of those books where I was thinking that it's going to be sweet and cute and there's not going to be too much depth to it. That's kind of what I was thinking at first.
Okay.
Maybe because it felt like it was a younger YA. There's a lot of really amazing scenes in this. I'm starting to really like the characters. They're growing on me quite a bit. I like the main character. I do like her a
ballerina.
lot. Yeah, I like her a lot. And the guy's starting to grow on me a bit.
He's got to do a little more for me.
He's got some issues.
He's got issues. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong on a road trip, and it does.
Yes,
It's
yes.
fun.
And
Luckily ours hasn't done
luckily
that.
ours has not done that.
I don't want us
It's not
to-
going to do that.
We want to read about road trips that have things,
Yes.
but we're not going to do that.
No. So we're going to have a nice, safe trip home. Okay, so that's pretty much going to be it for day 8. And tomorrow we're going to probably have breakfast with Shell and Nathaniel, so you'll get to see a little bit of them. And then we're going to head out because we got to hit Roseburg tomorrow night. And that's a bit of a drive, so it's a little longer of a drive.
It was really hot down south.
Yeah.
And I don't take the heat that well. So I'm actually hoping that I see some rain when I get back to Washington.
Hoping
I
it'll be
was
cold.
tired of the rain and cold, but now I'm ready to go back to rain and cold.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain anymore.
You're going to complain.
Okay, maybe I'll complain.
After a week
But
or
it was so hot down in Southern
Yeah.
California. Desert is hot.
Yeah, it's so different when you're not used to that kind of weather. Your body actually adapts really well to the weather that you live in. And so our bodies are very well adapted for Washington. So going down, it was just so dry. The weather, like I was so thirsty constantly 24/7.
It wasn't horribly
It wasn't
hot.
horribly hot.
They had the Santa Ana winds coming through, so that was kind of cooling, but it's so dry and
Well, and it's warmer than we're used to, at least right now, because usually when it comes to summertime in Washington, we get to build up to the heat, whereas there's
just
no
thrown right
we're
into
thrown
it.
Yeah, and so I think it's not even that it felt too hot; it was just that it sapped all our energy out. Like every day, we're just so
wasn't
tired.
hardly moving.
Yeah. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens on day 9 when we head through Northern California and back up into Oregon. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you later.
Bye.